We all suck at chess. It's sometimes hard to admit, because at least I spend a lot of time learning this very difficult game, but deep in our hearts, we all know that we are terrible at playing chess.
Nothing up here.
And that's why sometimes we lose very quickly. Sometimes even in under 10 moves. But this got me thinking, what about chess players that are actually good? What about the best player alive, current world champion, and maybe even the best player that ever lived, Magnus Carlsen? Has Magnus Carlsen ever lost a game in under 10 moves? So I went digging and actually found a game of Magnus Carlsen that he lost in 7 moves. It's a game against Alexander Grischuk, and to be fair, it was a Chess 960 game. In case you already know what Chess 960 is, you can skip ahead right now, timestamps are on the video, or at least they should be. And if you never heard of Chess 960, I will explain it very quickly to you. Chess 960, also known as Fischer Random, was invented by a previous world champion called Bobby Fischer. He thought that opening theory was actually destroying chess, because it was more about memorizing moves and lines than actually playing chess, finding tactics and attacking. So he invented this chess variant where the pieces are randomly organized on the back rank.
Go put them all in random order.
It is called Chess 960 because there actually are 960 possible ways to arrange the pieces. Here you see one possible position how the pieces could be arranged. There are only 2 rules to this. First, the bishops have to be on alternating colors, and the king has to be in between of the rooks, so castling is possible. Now you might wonder, if the king is on a square like b1 and the rook is on g1, how can you castle? And I will show you this very quickly. First I will just develop the pieces so you can get out. Don't pay attention to any of this is really just to make way for the king and the rook to castle. And here we are in a position where white can castle both ways. The way this works is that the position they end up in is the normal castling position to not change the game too much. Bobby Fischer wanted to have the same positions basically and have the game look the same, just without the opening theory part. So in this position, white could castle long. So if I just do this, you will see that it looks kind of ridiculous. But they actually end up in the position they would when you castle long normally, in a normal game. Which kind of looks just very stupid. You just move the king 1 square there and then the rook jumps over it and moves another square. It looks very strange, but that's how castling works in Chess 960. Now, if we look on the other way, neither the rook nor the king are on their normal squares. And you can still castle short by playing the king there and castling short. And again, this looks very stupid. The king moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares on the square of the rook, and the rook just scooches aside. But it works, it's legal. And here's the beautiful thing. If you look at this position, maybe without the queen there, this could actually be a normal chess position. You have the center occupied, they castled, you have these bishops here. That looks like a normal chess position, but you just cut out the opening theory. So now that you understand the rules of Chess 960, let's have a look at the game between Magnus Carlsen and Alexander Grischuk. It starts with e4 and knight to g6. We have f4, Carlsen tries to take as much space in the center as possible, and Grischuk tries to counteract that with f5. Magnus doesn't want to take, because if you take, queen takes, you just have an active queen, this pawn is weak, etc, etc, so it just pushes through. Grischuk develops this other knight, and we have d4. Magnus now has really a big center. Grischuk develops his bishop, and this is already pretty interesting. Normally, when the bishop is coming to the 4th rank, you can just put a pawn in between and chase it away. But here, the bishop is on a different home square, so this doesn't work, and you actually have to move the queen. Now Grischuk tries to crack open white's center with d6. Magnus doesn't really want to take, because if you take and black takes back, black just has this open rook. Now if you take the rook, I take back with the queen, and then I have an open queen. You have this split pawns. It's really not looking that nice. So of course Carlsen doesn't take, but develops his knight. Black takes, and Carlsen takes back with the d-pawn. And this is a huge blunder. The thought behind it actually is pretty smart. Let's say black wastes a move, now white wins a piece. You can pause the video here and see if you find the tactic. It's queen to d4, giving a check, and you can't move the king out of the way, the only way to block the check is to either put the knight here or there. No matter where you put it, no one is protecting that bishop anymore. And if you move the bishop to d5, which is protected, I put pressure on the pinned piece.
PP on the PP.
With c4, and no matter what you do, I just win your bishop in the next move. So the thought behind taking with the d-pawn is pretty clever. The problem is, Carlsen missed an insane move. You can pause the video here and see if you find it. And if you found it, congratulations! You are a better chess player than Magnus Carlsen. Because here, Black played the insane long castles, which literally is just switching out the king and the rook. Now, this is really bad news for white, because you can't move out of the check because of the bishop, so you have to block the check with the queen. You can either move here or there. Those are the only two legal moves. And no matter where you put it, I just take it with the rook. You have to take back, of course. Now you're just down a queen and I'm attacking you. So it was on this move where Magnus Carlsen resigned the game. After long castles, which is just switching out the king and the rook. And you really can't blame him for that. He actually said in the interview after the game that he just forgot that this move was possible. He didn't have the castling rules present of Chess 960. And I mean, that really sounds fair. This literally looks like if you teach kids, little kids, how to play chess and you teach them how castling works, and then a week later they play again and they don't remember exactly how it went down, but they are like, oh yeah, I can somehow switch king and rook, I will just do this now, and this is a move. Yeah, I mean, you really can't blame him for missing that. Now this is already it for today. Please let me know in the comments if you actually found the tactic that Magnus Carlsen missed. If you like this video and want to support the channel, please recommend the video to your dentist. And otherwise, I hopefully see you in the next week with another video on chess. Or whatever that game was.